I think there's a good case for playing any of our bowlers. I think the wicket was a little bit different to the one probably that we're expecting tomorrow. However, we'll have to adapt to everything it throws up. It looked a little bit too paced, maybe with a bit steeper bounce, having watched it yesterday. But again, if there is anything to exploit, hopefully we'll select the right team.
And you're back on the same strip where you scored over 400 twice in the last couple of years. If you do get the first chance again, you're going to go big and get somewhere near that, do you think?
Here, I think to get anywhere near something like that, you need to play unbelievably well. And it starts with the very basics of getting ourselves into an innings and each batter starting and trying to establish a partnership. So as regards setting heights and expectations, it all starts at naught.
We saw last night with Anthony Joshua that sporting upsets do happen, but Pakistan have been thrashed by you 4-0. They were thrashed on Friday. They lost 11 on the trot. Surely there can't be another upset like that, can there, on Monday?
We prepare for Pakistan at their best. We've certainly seen them only 2 years ago. They were the best side in the world in the Champions Trophy. They turned us over, they turned India over, who were probably contenders as well for the Champions Trophy, so we'll be preparing as best we can for their A game.
And since we last spoke to you, we've seen some of the other teams in action, Australia, New Zealand. What are your thoughts from what you've seen with the Windies as well?
I didn't see any of the Afghanistan-Australia game, but I did see some of the Sri Lanka, New Zealand game at Cardiff. It did look very green at Cardiff, and New Zealand probably got best of the conditions, and are a very good side, so took advantage of them. So yeah.
Just finally for me, how would you sum up the mood of the boys going into the second match?
Yeah, it's good. We've had a very comfortable couple of days. We had a golf day, training day yesterday, and today's going to be a really light session in preparation for tomorrow. We've emphasised that guys need to be fresh, particularly throughout the whole group stages, in order to get the best out of ourselves. We feel like we're in good form, but that doesn't give us the right to win the game. We have to go out on every match day and try to earn the right to win the game.
Steph, we'll go with you.
Just in the early games of the tournament, what have you made of the amount of short pitch bowling and the amount of wickets that seems to be taking?
It could be a trend. Probably over the last couple of years, it's probably been in a shorter format of the game. It's been leg spin. This might be a trend for the tournament. It might be the nature of the pitches. The pitches look pretty good. Like cross seam into the wicket might be getting a better reaction than any other bowling. Potentially coming off too pace, which makes cross patch shots a little bit harder. It means you have to take a higher risk. So you might see sides utilising that from here on in.
If it is a trend, thinking more of a batsman than a captain, how do you combat that and make sure you can keep scoring the runs at the rate that you want to?
Yeah, I think it's being happy with a game plan and committing fully to it, whether it's high risk, low risk or medium risk, just being happy with what you're trying to execute and go with the plan.
Likewise, if that is a trend, do you feel quite happy as a captain with the pace attack that you've got, that you can kind of mix it with anyone?
Yeah, we're very happy with our squad. We do recognise that throughout the tournament wickets will probably get slower and slower, and we will need to maybe look at playing three spinners or looking at more of a death bowler or a taller bowler into our squad or into our final 11. So we're looking at all aspects.
Just the way the first game went, could it have kind of gone any better for you as captain now? You've had a few days to sort of drink it in and move on.
Yeah, we could have scored 350. That probably would have been top the day off. But I was still happy where we got to with the bat, probably just above par, and then bowled and fielded extremely well.
And I just wanted to ask you about when it comes to selection, when you and Trev kind of sit down, is it purely just game by game, trying to win that game, or do you actually think about, the workload that you're putting into players, trying to make sure that you're keeping them fresh for, challenges to come and so on, and how the tournament will evolve?
Yeah, I think because of the big gap between the games, you can manage the workload in between the game days. So you can give guys days off or make sure that they don't do too much. So that doesn't really come into it. It's more the opposition and the ground. So the performance that the individual might have had on the ground. So that comes to it as well.
Rory?
Cheers. Well, just with the some of the coverage that the opening game got, with Ben's catch being sort of almost top item on the news and some amazing photographs of that moment as well, does that give you a little sneak peek into the sort of the connection that you have a chance to make this summer?
I think it gives us a sneak peek into the potential that cricket has to grow and the exposure it might have over the next 5 or 6 weeks. I think when you have one of your all-rounders, one of your best players on the side that puts in a performance like that, in engages with so many different personalities, kids, all the way through until like granddads, everybody can experience taking a great catch or getting runs or taking wickets or just having one of those days where everything goes right. I think that sets the tournament up really well, and obviously confidence within our camp. When Ben's doing well, it rubs off on other people.
A bit of discussion about whether or not the 10:30 start as opposed to the normal 11 o'clock start here may have sort of had a bit of an impact in the early stages of the games. Do you think that?
The only game I've seen so far where it has is the New Zealand game. The wicket looked pretty green on TV, and if there's a bit of moisture around that early in the morning, it'll mean the side bowling first will have an advantage.
Is that something you look at tomorrow? Makes a difference here from the last time you played starting at 11?
Yeah, definitely. It's well known that we enjoy chasing. We don't mind setting either, but we do enjoy chasing. There is a small advantage to it, just knowing what you're trying to get. It doesn't mean you're going to get it, but it's just psychologically knowing what you're going to get and how well you have to pace your chase.
Just following on from Rory's question, that extra exposure, that extra expectation, back pages, front pages, is that something you relish and this England team relishes?
It's not really something we focus on. It's something that will happen. We've talked about it. It'll happen throughout the tournament, whether we're doing well or we're getting hammered. Either way, it'll get reasonable amount of publicity. So we'll try and stay pretty level. We'll try and do our best and let what we can't control what happens in the media.
And as well as Ben's catch, I think Jofra was the talk of that game as well, his bowling and speed. Do we need to be careful with him, not to overhype him too much and expect that every game?
Yes, definitely. Nobody can bowl fast every game. I think we've seen that with our fast bowlers in the past. It's just not possible. It's like when you have a high quality batsman who averages over 50, he's not going to go out and get 100 every game. It's just not possible. So yeah, take everything every day as it comes when it comes to Jofra.
Two more.
Yeah, around the last World Cup, you had talked about the IPL. I think they wanted you here, but you had said you'd rather stay there. You were learning things. Could you just list what did you learn there? And secondly, you got this great poker face, almost a detached sense. Did you have to work on it, or are you always like this, detached?
The T20 World Cup are you talking about? Yeah. So the group of players that we have at the moment that have played in the IPL in the last couple of years, it has given them great exposure, great experience playing against the best teams in the world under a huge spotlight. And in the last 2 years in particular, but maybe 3, those guys have gone from, learning a huge amount at the IPL to actually going there and being MVP or dominating in certain stages of the tournament. And that for us is a huge step, because we've gone from a team that had very few people going to the IPL, say 6 or 7 years ago, and probably looked down upon if you went, to encouraged to go, embracing it, dominating, and then coming back, and that breathing confidence within the change room. My face is always the same. Can't change it. Yeah.
One more, are we done? Ali, go ahead.
How much? I mean, obviously, seeing a spell like Jofra's the other day against South Africa, how much does that, as a captain, make you think? If I can add the Mark Wood we saw in the Caribbean to that as a captain, how much would that excite you?
It is exciting, but it's like saying, can you add Jason Roy 180 to Joss Butler's 150, you know, both of them off 70 or 80 balls. It might happen, and that, you know, if it does, that would be awesome. But we just have to wait and see. Yeah, it's all on potential and probability, isn't it?
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.